Welcome back to a very tiny slice of Japan, because today we're delving straight back into the Forza Horizon 5 Nissan Retro Rides car pack. Or to you and I, a bunch of K-cars. So this time around we have ourselves the Nissan Figaro, or Figaro, I don't know how to say it, but this thing has some very impressive stats. It starts off with a whopping 75 brake horsepower, 78 foot-pounds of torque, and weighs a quite impressive 1,786 pounds. Which, to be honest, is actually kind of incredible because it is very light indeed. And I've got to say, I do like the little quirky styling of this thing. It's just strange, it's different, and I absolutely love it. Plus, there's also a bonus as well, because if we press down on the left stick, we should see, hopefully, any second. There we go. It's also kind of a mini convertible too. Now, going to the inside, it is, well, essentially about as basic as you can get. There really isn't much going on. You got ourselves a tiny little radio there, 2 dials, and that's literally it. But now let's go ahead and take a listen. So here we are now in the upgrade shop, and the first thing you're doing is jumping straight over to conversion, over to engine swaps to see what we've got. We've got quite a fair few available, including the 2-litre inline-4 VVT, we have a 2-litre inline-4 turbo, alongside that we have ourselves a 2.6-litre inline-6 twin turbo, we also have ourselves an inline-4 motorbike engine, a 1.6-litre inline-4 turbo rally engine, and also a 2.6-litre racing 4-rotor. So, you know, not much. And of course, because this thing starts out front wheel drive from stock, you can go ahead and make this thing rear wheel drive or all wheel drive, and I think we'll do that a bit later on. However, what this thing has in engines, it desperately lacks when it comes to any form of aero, because if we have a look at the front, we have ourselves just the standard Forza front splitter and tow hook, and going to the back, let's take a look. Is it the little bits? It is. It's a tiny little bit of plastic on the back. However, in the meantime, our mechanic Mac has been very busy putting together a tune for this thing, so let's go ahead and bring up the share code of that very quickly. There it is. Feel free to go ahead and grab that for yourself. We're also going to go ahead and grab that, download and install, and see what we can do to this thing. Or rather, see what Mac's done to it already. So with all these upgrades, we're sat now at just over 2,000 pounds in weight with a whopping 343 brake horsepower, which is going to be mad. So with those upgrades installed, we are now over at the paint shop. So let's go ahead, take a look and see. We do actually have 2 different paint groups for advanced painting this time. Paint group number 1 being at the main body of the car, and paint group number 2, let's have a look. What is it? It is a little bit at the top over here. Very interesting indeed. Now we go ahead and move to manufacturer colours. We've got ourselves a whopping 1, 2, 3, 4 to choose from, and to be honest, I kind of think I preferred the blue that this thing was in already. Now, unlike many cars in this little car showcase series, this is one of the very few that I can say that I've actually seen quite a fair few of, and the most recent spot was around a couple weeks ago. And I've got to say, they look even cooler in person, and that is despite being such a weird little car. And away we go. We're now up against a whole bunch of various sorts of vehicles. There's a DeLorean in front of us, there's a Morgan 3-wheeler over there, and what do we got behind us? Is that a Peel? Still doesn't matter. How do we deal with the first turn? Hopefully we do a pretty good. In fact, to be fair, this thing's actually kind of good, I can't lie. I wasn't expecting that. Although I am expecting quite a fair bit of speed, and at the moment there, well, isn't any. Although we do make our way all the way up into 4th, and hopefully, and now we make ourselves up into 3rd. Nobody saw that push, it didn't happen. This is one of the very few cars where I genuinely did not actually know how many of these were made, and apparently there was only 20,000 of these, and roughly 4,500 of these exist in the UK. Which, when you think about it, is quite staggering. Anyway, past the S-Cargo we go, up into 1st place. Also, by the way, if you wanted one of these weird little machines for yourself, and honestly, I can't blame you, apparently they average in the UK roughly £12,200. That's this in US dollar. Okay, 95% of the race is done. 1 more turn to go. The finish line is just here, and across we go with a beautiful 1st place, plenty of space between us and everybody else, and a time of 2 minutes 8. So that was quite a race indeed, and honestly, I'm kind of proud of the little Nissan. But now let's go ahead, jump to backstage voting, and we see we've got another tiny car up for grabs this week, because it's the Fiat Dino and the PLP 50 versus the Volkswagen SP2 and the Citroen DS23. I've got to say, it's kind of a tough choice this week. I really don't know what one to go for, but I think just because I've not seen that Volkswagen for a long time, we're going to go with that. Do you agree? Let me know. And now we jump from road racing straight to drag racing, because Mac has been busy making us a tune for it. In fact, there is the share code. Feel free to go ahead and grab it for yourself. We're going to go ahead, download it, and see what's going to happen. And I've got to say, it is good things all the way, because this thing is now even lighter than it was from factory at 1,630 pounds with 720 brake horsepower. Right, here we are now over at the back of the festival. Let's go ahead and get a wheelie check out of this thing. I'm expecting some big thing from this car, and we were not disappointed. Oh my god, this thing's still going. Big wheelie we wanted, big big wheelie is what we got. Right, here we are now over at the drag strip. We're on launch controllers, even a Civic that wants to race us apparently. But let's go ahead and I guess we're going to race a Civic as well, because why not? Right, let's go. 1, 2, 3, away we go. Let's go ahead and see what we get out of this thing. A tiny car, a lot of power, very, 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 very light. I'm hoping for some good speed out of this thing. What do we get through the camera? Hopefully something good. We got 175.69 through the camera, and off the end of the drag strip are nearly 193. And as per normal, the brakes don't work. However, now it's our turn to go ahead and throw some modifications at the tiny little 1990s Nissan. We're going to go ahead and I think we're going to chuck in the 2.6 litre inline 6. We're going to go ahead and make this thing all-wheel drive as well. We're going to try and make a top speed build out of this. By the way, as far as tyre width, you can only do 195s on the front and on the back. So as to how this turns out, I have no idea. Yeah, I'm sure this looks fine. And so with the upgrades in place, now I've got to try and tune this thing. This is going to be weird. And now let's go ahead and take a look at this week's Forza shop, and it's a good one because we have ourselves the Rimac Nevera, one of the fastest drag cars in reverse. We have ourselves a Horizon Backstage Pass, the Sleepy Emote, or just me. We have ourselves the Ford Mustang Boss 302, the Grit Reapers hoodie, the Horizon Super Wheel Spin, and the regular Horizon Wheel Spin as well. And now, out to the motorway. Now, apparently I've just been informed by a very highly reliable team of squirrels that not all of these cars are K cars in the Nissan Retro Rise car pack. Some of them are called Pike cars. As to why, I have no idea. Anyway, let's go ahead now and see how close did we get to the motorway grate today, and we have, well, we are miles back. Anyway, here we are now over at the edge of the motorway. Let's get ourselves onto the launch control once again, and away we go. A small amount of power in this thing. Well, I say small amount, just under 800, but this thing is 1,800 pounds, so it is tremendously light. Honestly, I don't kind of have words for this thing. It's going to be very, very interesting indeed, and I'm hoping for a decent top speed. Although to be fair, the fun quality of this thing is already more than enough. And out the speed zone, 213.54 miles an hour. We still have the downhill and speed camera to go, so can we get quicker? Let's go find out. Personally, I'm hoping we can actually get quicker. Hopefully we should see, there's the camera, 216.19 going downhill, 218, 219, do we hit 220? We do. Anything faster than that? 221 out of the tiny little Nissan Figaro. Again, I still don't know how to say this thing's name, but let's go ahead and see how good does the brakes on this thing. Up to the sign, and on we go. Let's try and see if we can get a reasonable stopping distance out of this. And you know what? I think we just did. But as you all know, we're not done there. And that's because we've got one more thing to do. So let's go ahead and take the tiny little car drifting and see what we get. Is it a case of tiny car, big points? I'm hoping so. But let's go ahead and see what do we get off run number 1. 42,444. And also one slight dent, but we're going to ignore that bit. And now time for run number 2, a very impressive 42,400 to beat. Can we do it? I genuinely really do not know, but let's go ahead and give it everything we've got. And we've got ourselves 41,795 points. So the fact we nearly equaled that is honestly impressive. And by that, of course, I mean the first run. However, that is the tiny little Nissan Figaro, and I've got to say, it is a tiny car, but it is such a big amount of fun. I love it. Like I said at the start of this video, you can grab this thing as part of the Nissan Retro Rise car pack, but it is a DLC and will cost you a little bit extra from the base game. But for this thing, a tiny little 220 mile an hour K Pike car, or whatever you want to call this thing, and, 42,000 points on that tiny drift zone there, I've got to say, to me, is definitely worth it. And if all of that doesn't convince you, then hopefully being able to remove the roof will. In the meantime though, thank you very much for watching. That is this video on the tiny little Nissan. Hopefully you've all enjoyed. If you have, feel free to go ahead and like, share, comment, subscribe, all that cool stuff. We're going to try and push a 1.5k by the end of this year, and I really, really think we can do it. But for now, all that's left for me to say is thank you very much for watching. Tech out. See ya. Now, what car's next week?